How's it going, guys? Here's Maya. Are y'all ready for today? Super exciting. Why can't I see everybody? All right, here we go. Oh, I gotta scroll down. I got a slew of people coming in. All right, here we go. Abby, Breezy. Anyway, there we go. Emily. That's Cayenne. Carissa, Alex.
Why is it so dark, Gwen?
Here we go, Trent. Oh, buddy, are y'all so excited? Six waiting. Will.
Yeah, why are me and Audrey the only people dressed up here?
Hey, that's awesome.
Got my tie. Audrey has her blazer on. I mean,
Yes, I do.
Look at y'all. Look at y'all. Don't worry. I have my stuff too. I just haven't put it on yet.
Were
Anyway.
we supposed to dress up?
You can. Anyway.
Apparently, Breezy, you missed the memo.
Noah's dressed up in a suit or like in a nice shirt and a tie and glasses.
There you go.
That gym shorts on underneath.
When I do this in class for real, it's actually extra credit to dress up. So 26 in meeting, 3 waiting. Okay, here we go. Tristan.
I love you. Are you joining?
Andrew.
Yeah, I love me.
Okay, I guess I won't get to see you because you'll have it. Dang it. Okay.
Sam, Jonathan.
Okay, I love you.
I love you too.
Aww.
Who you talking to, Cole?
All right, I'm here.
Who was that, Cole?
What?
Was that your mom?
Yeah.
Or was that a girly? Okay, what? 1 waiting.
Wait.
2 waiting. Okay, here's Jane.
You were not muted, Cole.
I'm confused.
Anyway, tell her we said hello. All right. All right, 31 in meeting, 1 waiting.
Oh, can y'all still hear me? Hold on.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I got it fixed.
Who's waiting?
There we go.
No one got a message.
Who's that? Okay. All right. It says Andrew is joining.
He's Victor Frankenstein.
Y'all ready, Freddie? Okay. I am going to have to take attendance. Here we go. And it still says Andrew Dore joining. I wonder if he's having issues, which will not be good. But I've been a Victor Frankenstein many a time. So that's okay. Okay. Oh, did he get in? Let's see. Okay. I don't admit Victor Frankenstein. Okay. He changed it to Victor Frankenstein. Hello, Victor. All right. Haley is here. Corey is here. Okay. Are we ready to go? I've got 34 people in here. There are actually 36 people in the class. I know Nicole chose to do the paper. So
she's crazy.
Nicole.
Blake, flex to the camera one time.
All right.
LaCorey.
Okay. I don't see Nicole, Carson, and there's one other person that's missing. Nicole, Carson. All right. Who else are we missing?
34 here, so.
Yeah, but that's 34 including me. So there's only 33. So Nicole makes 34. Carson makes 35. I'm still missing 1. All right. Do you not see a buddy? The prosecution team, is your whole team here? How about Vondro? Do you see Alex? Yeah, got him. Gotcha. Cutie, hopefully you can undo your video. All right, well, I'm gonna have to share my screen and actually take roll then. Here we go. All right, here we go. Guys, I just learned like 2 minutes ago how to use a breakout room. So this is gonna be kind of cool when we have to break for our jury deliberations, but we'll just find out, okay?
How long is this gonna be?
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. All right, where are my trial positions? Okay, if you are here, please say here. All right, Jonathan Schreck.
Here.
Okay, Alex.
Here.
Emily. Chappelle.
Here, I was muted, sorry.
Okay. Oh, here's Diana. Okay, I think that should be everybody. But anyway, but I'll still go down the roll. Sam Douglas.
Here.
Okay, Audrey.
Here.
Emily Lane.
Here.
Breezy Burnett. Breezy.
Here.
Okay, Tristan Russell.
Here.
Noah Couch.
Here.
All right, Avery Gainey.
Here.
Andrew Dore. Andrew, where are you? Okay, hopefully we'll be able to hear. Can you turn your volume up? Because we got to be able to hear you. Corey Jones.
Good.
You look good. You got your sunglasses on?
Nah, I just got home. I had time for
Come on, Corey, go get some sunglasses. You're Mr. DeLacy. Anyway, Haley Milligan. Haley, are you there? Haley.
She's here.
I know she's joining. Haley, are you connected with audio? Okay, here's another one. Andrew Dore, admit. Okay. Anyway, I don't know what's wrong with Haley, and I gotta have her because she's a witness. Okay, let's see. Where am I? Trent Stanley. I'm sorry. Okay, Haley, was that you? She's still not talking. Okay, Trent.
Here.
Okay, Carissa.
Here.
Maya.
Here.
Nicole. Okay, Nicole is not. She did the paper. Cayenne.
I'm here.
Okay, good. Brooke Lee.
Here.
Blake Harris.
Here.
Carolyn Lassiter.
I'm here.
Amelia Lane.
Here.
Eric Foraker.
Here.
Jonah Couch.
Here.
Cole Goodwin.
Here.
Diana Wynn.
Here.
JC Wynn.
Here.
All right, Carson is not here. Janie. Janie, are you here? Janie. Janie, is your audio on? Okay. Haley, I just saw you joined again. Are you here? I don't know. Okay, so right now, Haley and Janie. I'm sorry, who was that? I don't know. Okay, Ella?
Here.
Ella, are you here? Yay! Bailiff Ella. Here we go. Sheridan, are you here?
Here.
Leah, are you here?
Here.
Abigail, are you here?
Here.
All right, Gwen, are you here?
Here.
And Will, are you here?
Here.
Okay, are we ready to go?
No.
All right, let me stop sharing my screen for just a minute. Let me put us on gallery view so we can all see each other. And if it's possible for you to not have your, like to have video, because I want this to be video. Okay, couple of things. Let me talk to my jury, okay? Jury, were you able to print out the score sheet?
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
yay.
I didn't
If
print it
you
out.
didn't, okay, if you didn't, then you need a piece of paper and a pen, okay? It doesn't matter because you're gonna submit it digitally, but if you don't have your score sheet right there in front of you, I'm gonna tell you how to just write it down, and then you're gonna score every individual and every statement and everything like that, and that's how you're gonna add up your score. And then you can't see it, it's only an icon for the host, but we're gonna put y'all in a breakout room after the defense gives their closing statement. That'll be the end. Then we will put the jury into a breakout room. Everyone else is gonna stay here and y'all can catch up for a couple minutes while I tell them how to, okay, yes. Admit. Haley's having trouble getting in. Aw. Anyway, hopefully she's in now. And I didn't hear audio back from Janie either. So anyway, hopefully
Hello.
those people.
Hey,
Yay!
Brown.
There's Haley.
You can
Yes.
hear me? Okay, good.
Okay, I got you now. Anyway, I'm just missing Janie. Is Janie on here? I don't see her. But anyway, so I'm going to help you all with the score sheet. Okay, my clerks, I am in the Zoom. I'm just having issues with my audio. Okay, all right, she just sent me a message. Perfect. All right, hopefully she'll be able to hear, and this is going to be on record, so we'll be able to take it from there. Okay, jury, you've got a pen and a piece of paper. All right, clerks, Leah, you're typing the questions the attorneys ask. Okay, that's all you're typing. All right, Sheridan. Where are you, Sheridan? I can't see your little thing. Wave to me, Sheridan. Oh, there you are. There you are, cutie, in the middle of the screen. You are typing the direct examination answers. So it will be Walton, Waldman, and Frankenstein's first talk with their attorneys, okay, the prosecution team. And then you will do Delaney and DeLacy, the River Girl, and who am I missing? The creature, when the defense team is talking to them, okay? Abby, my other clerk, you are typing answers for cross-examination. So when they're first up with their attorney, you don't worry about them. It's when I say, defense or prosecution, would you like to cross-examine? When you hear me say that, cue you, that's you. And again, this is recording, and Andrew, it's very cold up in the North Pole. Lovely. Anyway, this is recording, so I will send this out. And anyway, if for some reason we have technical difficulties, please come back in because this is your final test grade, okay? And as long as you do well in this performance and then of course submit your pretrial assignments and do your post-trial reflection video, then you will do really well. Anyway, are we ready to get started? Yay. Okay, first of all, bailiff, do you have your Bible and your supplies? And your little, okay, yay. All right, okay, first of all, I have to get my judge robe on. So, just a minute.
A whole judge robe. What the heck?
Is anyone else like super confused as to what is going on like at all? I have no idea what I'm doing.
I think she forgot to put us on gallery view anyway, so.
You have to
Okay.
click on yourself.
All right. Technically, I don't sit down until y'all like my official robe here. Mr. Worley gave it to me a few years ago. Okay.
Brown drip.
Yeah.
Brown drippy. She drippy. She drippy.
Am I drippy? Whatever that means. Okay. All right. Are we ready? All right. Jury, if you're on the jury, we're going to walk in and stand, okay, until our bailiff says that we can sit down. All right. Any questions before we get started? All right. Ella, it's all you, girlfriend.
All rise. The Honorable Justice Brown and the jury are now entering the courtroom. Please be seated and remain quiet throughout these proceedings.
Good evening. This court is now in session. I now call the case Province of Geneva versus the Creature. We are ready to begin with the swearing in of the jury. Will the jury please rise and raise your right hand and be sworn? Stand up, jury. Do you solemnly swear that you will try the issues now given you, that you will speak nothing of the matters of this case or the matters in hand, but amongst yourselves, and that when you are agreed upon any verdict, you will keep it secret until you deliver it in this court? Do you also swear? Say, I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Prosecution and defense team, are both parties ready to make oral opening arguments? Very well. Prosecution, you may proceed with your opening statement.
Good afternoon. My name is Emily Chappelle. It is my pleasure to represent Mr. Victor Frankenstein and to serve as a prosecutor on this very important case. Very recently, the defendant, the monster, brutally took the lives of Elizabeth Frankenstein and Henry Clerval. Members of the jury, I warn you that the defendant may plead innocent due to simply not knowing right from wrong. But I assure you, the monster that stands before you knew exactly what it was doing when it brutally tortured and strangled the loved ones of Mr. Victor Frankenstein. On paper, this case may seem like a decision between innocence and guilt, but truly it is a matter of justice and injustice. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is up to you which you will choose. Will you allow this monster to devastate the lives of more people, more families, or will you choose justice? This monster should pay for its crimes. While the loved ones of Victor Frankenstein can never be brought back to him, we at least hope that justice will be served. At the conclusion of this case, and after you have heard all of the evidence, we are confident that you will return with a verdict of guilty for this monster.
Thank you, prosecution. Defense, you may now make your opening statement.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, may it please the court, the prosecution would like you to believe that my client is an evil monster. They want you to believe that he is a cold and calculated murderer, but the facts will prove that my client is the victim. That he is the real monster is the person that created my client, and that person is Victor Frankenstein. My client was not a normal human being, and he was not taught right from wrong. He was abandoned and had to learn about this cruel world on his own. Victor Frankenstein made a promise to save my client, but he was a liar. My client was created with a childlike mentality. He was a product of science and of a moral experiment. His creator did not teach him love or kindness. As a matter of fact, Victor Frankenstein left him all alone and never came back for him or tried to find him. The first thing my client learned was hate, deceit, and sadness. People attacked him, abused him because of his appearance. He was hated and feared for no fault of his own. He was trying to survive the best that he could, no thanks to Victor Frankenstein. I ask that you open your mind and don't judge my client on the way he looks or acted out. He was a gentle giant until the world got a hold of him. My client is the true victim. He will present evidence that proves the fact and give you no option but to reach a verdict of not guilty.
Thank you, defense. All right, we are now ready to begin our questioning. Prosecution, you may call your first witness to the stand. Hold on 1 second. Jury, you need to evaluate the opening statements for the prosecution and the defense. So if you want to jot that down, you're going to rate them between a 0 and a 10. Okay, 10 being the best, a 0 being they didn't even give one. Okay, you have on your score sheet the specifications for what is considered good, average, fair, things like that. Basically, an effective opening statement should provide a case review, the theme of the case, mention key witnesses, provide a description of their team's side of the case, state the burden of proof, and things like that. All right, so please make sure you have a score for prosecution opening statement from Counselor Chappelle and the defense opening statement from Counselor Burnett. Now, I'm sorry, prosecution, for that delay. You may call your first witness to the stand. Whom would you like to call?
We can call Victor Frankenstein first.
Actually, I'd advise you to save him for last. I'd advise
Okay,
you
we
to
will.
start with Robert Walton. Would you please call Robert Walton to the stand?
Robert Walton, can you come to the stand, please?
Thank
Yeah.
you. All right, bailiff, would you please swear in the witness? Put on, cutie. Ella, your audio is not working. Okay, try it again.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. Robert Walton, please raise your right hand and place your left on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Prosecution, you may begin questioning your witness. Sheridan, our clerk, you may begin taking the answers. Leah, you may begin with the questions, and I'll put you on speaker view. Okay.
Robert Walton, where did you meet Victor Frankenstein?
I met Victor Frankenstein when I was aboard my ship stuck between the ice, and I saw him chasing after the monster. And I boarded him upon my ship with my crew members.
What was he acting like when you met him?
He was startled and he was in an ill state, and we had to nurse him back to health. He was cold. It was a cold night and a cold day, and then he was a little startled because he was chasing after him and lost some family members.
What did you and Victor talk about?
We talked about our past lives. Like, we talked about how we grew up in a young age and how we lost him into what we are today. And he also discussed about his works at the university.
Did Victor ask anything specific of you?
Not really. He just basically told me things that I should be aware of, and he told me about his specific type of lifestyle.
Did you ever see the creature?
I did see the creature eventually.
What did the creature say to you when you saw him?
He didn't really say anything. We actually got the creature by ourselves back to Geneva. I saw him at a distance as well with Frankenstein chasing him.
How would you say he was personality-wise? Did he seem to have the ability to understand what was going on around him?
He somewhat did, because he was trying to do what was best for the society. He was trying to capture it to stop the harm that was going around. And if I really thought he was like a kind of weird type of person, I wouldn't necessarily be his best of friends.
All right. But he didn't. Oh, sorry. Hold on. So the monster, he cooperated. He didn't try and do anything. He just came with you.
He tried to fight back, but me and him, we kind of just overtook him with our strength. And he eventually
All right. Thank you, Robert Walton. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense, would you like to cross-examine at this time? And Ms. Johnson, our clerk, if you will remain on your answers as well. And jury, if you will make a note on the prosecutor's questions only, and if you will score them, the prosecutor's questions only from Counselor Douglas. Out. Yes. Okay. Defense, you may cross-examine.
All right. Mr. Walton, how did you come across Mr. Frankenstein?
I came across Mr. Frankenstein when he was chasing after his creature, and I was aboard my ship, and I offered to take him along on my boat.
Did you personally ever think that the monster was an evil creature?
I feel like Dr. Frankenstein wasn't really trying to create evil out of the creature, and he was trying to do something that was in his best, but the creature did do some evil type of things. That's why we had to bring him in.
What emotion were you constantly feeling before you met Mr. Frankenstein?
I was kind of in a little bit of doubt because our ship was stuck, and he also gave me a little bit of advice on what to avoid with my future comings in science.
Is it true that you confided in your sister that you were feeling lonely?
Yes, I wrote her letters often.
Why did you find it necessary to record Frankenstein's stories?
Because they were interesting, and he also told me that I needed to be aware of what was going on. He wanted me to not make the same mistakes of his, and it was interesting because he was the first to ever try and do this type of science.
Did you change Victor's words in any way to better your journaling?
No, I basically wrote it down word for word and what he did by his own word.
Did Victor Frankenstein seem mentally stable to you?
I think he was mentally stable because he had the right mental state to attempt and bring in the creature and end the harm that was going around.
Did it ever occur to you that Victor could be the immoral creature of the creator of this creature?
I think he could have been the creator, but he didn't do it with bad intentions. Everyone creates science experiments that go wrong, but this one was just a little bit extra, but the creature had its own state of mind.
Since you only heard Victor's creation story, did you believe it was completely true?
Yes, I did, because we discussed a long time, and I took his word and we became close friends aboard my ship.
Lastly, do you think that Victor finally felt guilty enough to feel any compassion or forgiveness for his creation? Or did he continue to only express bitterness towards his own creation?
I feel like he had a little bit of both. The creature took away his family members and closest, dearest friends, and he kind of felt bad for the threat for other people, so that's why we went after the creature ourselves in Geneva and brought him back to Geneva.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Counselor. All right, if the jury will please now evaluate the defender's counselor's questioning from Counselor Russell, and then also for the prosecution side, evaluate the witness, Robert Walton. Okay, so at this point, you should have 3 scores for the prosecution, that of opening statement, Counselor Douglas's questions, and also the witness for the prosecution, Robert Walton. You should have 2 defense scores, that of the defense's opening statement and defense counselor Russell. All right, prosecution, you may now call your second witness. I would not call your major witness. I would call your second witness next to the stand. And bailiff, if you would prepare to swear in the witness. And then, of course, we're going to switch over to our other clerk for the direct examination questioning. Go ahead, Counselor. Will the prosecutor asking questions of Professor Waldman please call him to the stand?
Please come up to the stand, Professor.
All right, Professor, will you be sworn in by the bailiff?
Professor Walden, please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed and to examine the witness.
Professor Oldman, when did you meet Victor Frankenstein?
In my natural philosophy class at university.
What was he like?
He was just, I would say, an above average student, trying to really focus on his studies, get the most out of university as he could.
In your opinion, what was his ultimate goal in college?
I mean, it's like any other student, do well in college, to the best of their abilities and succeed with flying colors.
What do you think he was trying to accomplish?
He really wanted to be, a really great scientist. I'd say he did that, in his own ways.
What kind of impact would his creation have on the field of science?
It really opens up a whole new branch of the field. And of course, the first exploration into it didn't pan out too well. But in the future, who knows?
What do you believe went wrong in his attempt to create a new life?
That's a lot harder to say because, as a scientist, there's always so many mistakes you can make. And there's always so many things you can do right. So it's a lot hard to say.
All right. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, prosecution. If the jury would please evaluate the prosecutor's questioning and then hold your score for the defense and the witness until after cross-examination. And Abby, your clerk duties are now in full session. And defense, would you like to cross-examine Professor Waldman?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Will you please state your relationship with Mr. Frankenstein?
I was the teacher and he was the student.
Was he a good student, meaning did he do well in school?
Yes, very.
Did Mr. Frankenstein and yourself get along?
Yeah, he was a really good student.
Then, is it safe to say you supported him in his ambitions to create a new being?
Objection, leading the witness.
Well, leading is allowed in cross-examination.
Oh.
But anyway, very,
Worth
very
a try.
objection,
Okay.
Overruled. Anyway, you may continue, counselor.
I need the answer to the question.
Oh. I supported him. Not necessarily in the creation, but I supported him.
That was the question.
So I would say yes then, I guess.
So did you believe what he was doing was okay?
As it started, yes.
All right. Did you believe Victor to be mentally stable?
From what I saw of him in the classroom, yes.
All right. One last thing. As a well-respected non-professor once stated, all new life originates from one sperm and one egg. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes.
So then you would agree that Mr. Creature, who was not created as such, is not a human?
I would personally not say that.
How so?
Well, as I said earlier, Mr. Frankenstein has created a whole new field of science that we don't fully understand yet. So, I mean, this could totally shake our view of reality on that subject. So, that's what I have to say to that.
So he's not human, or he is human?
I would say that, yes.
But then you just agreed that all new life originates from one sperm and one egg.
It does.
So is it a yes or no? Is he human or not?
It is.
No further questions.
Thank you. Defense. Witness, you may step down. At this time, would the jury please evaluate Counselor Lane's questioning of Professor Waldman? And that score goes on the defense side. And if you would also score Professor Waldman's testimony, and that score would go on the prosecution side. All right, everybody doing well so far? Okay, prosecution, would you please call your final witness to the stand?
Victor Frankenstein, would you please come to the stand?
Mr. Frankenstein, if you would step forward, and bailiff, would you please swear him in?
Victor Frankenstein, please raise your right hand and place your left on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Mr. Frankenstein, we're having trouble with your audio. So can you turn it up? We need to hear you say physically, I do. I do. Wow, it's really, really hard to hear. Can you turn it up any louder? Okay.
Not unless I speak into the computer like this.
Okay, well, we got to be able to hear you. All right, thank you. All right, prosecution, you may examine the witness.
When you first created the monster, why did you leave?
Leave? I did not leave. I was taking a rest after my hard work. I had been working for 2 years straight to create my Rembrandt, my saving grace, if you will, that will lead me into a whole new world of science.
What was your first encounter with the monster after its creation?
I was forced to meet with it on Mount Blanc. It seemed very angry at the time. It threatened me several times until I had no choice but to at least promise to do his bidding. I feared for my own life.
How did you realize the monster murdered your younger brother, William?
When I
Objection,
arrived,
objection, relevance.
Can I counter that by saying it's relevant because it expresses Victor's emotions during that time because of the monster?
But someone has been convicted and tried for that already, so I would it's up to the judge, but.
I'll allow it, but get to the point, counselor. Get to the point.
What were his emotions, or what were your emotions after that time because of the monster's actions?
I had already been in a pretty scared and frightened state after I met him, so it wasn't hard to get even to more sadness when I learned that my youngest brother had died. And in such an odd way, too.
After that time, how did it feel knowing that the creature was still out there?
I became even more afraid. Oh, afraid for my own life and for those I loved. And this constant threats made it seem more real than ever that he was out there and waiting to exact his revenge on me for some reason.
When you simply decided not to create a second monster, how did the first monster react?
My creature did not take kindly to this. He saw it as murder, even though it was just the absence of life. He became very angry and started threatening me. I feared for my own life several times during that moment and had to flee to do something. I tried asking for help, but everyone laughed at me and told me it couldn't be done even if it was real, which it was.
How did the monster threaten you?
He threatened to kill me and even my family, I guess. He said he would be with me on my wedding night, but now I know that is true. He deliberately told me where he was going to be, and he was there, and he killed Elizabeth.
After this encounter, what was your mental state like?
Oh, it was even worse than it was before. I had several thoughts of killing myself and get this whole thing over with it. It was so fearful. Oh.
Describe what it looked like when you found your wife, Elizabeth, dead.
It was horrible. Strangled, the same way William and Henry had died. It couldn't have been anyone else. I had made those hands. I know exactly how big they are and what kind of mark they would make on a monster. I am a scientist.
What did Elizabeth mean to you?
She was everything, even though I didn't get to tell her that because I was so engrossed in all of my studies and, of course, my experiment.
How many people in your life have died as a result of the monster's actions?
3, and I know it to be so. The death of William was not by the servant. It was definitely by
Objection. Objection.
Objection sustained. Please move on.
No further questions. Thank you, Mr. Victor Frankenstein.
All right, thank you, Counselor. Would the jury please evaluate Counselor Chappelle's questioning as a score for the prosecution, and then hold your score for the witness until we hear the defense. Defense, would you like to cross-examine at this time?
Yes, we would.
Go right ahead. You may proceed.
Mr. Frankenstein, are you the sole inventor of my client?
I am.
What was your motivation and determination for creating him? Was it for your own benefit?
No, it was merely for science. I had read so many years of my childhood the works of Aristotle and ancient philosophers such as him, and I wanted to recreate with modern technology their dreams.
So it was not for motivation of being one of the greatest scientists ever known? That was not a part of it at all?
It might have been. It was such a long time ago.
Uh-huh. Do you think that what you created is categorized as a human or as a creature?
I created him with human parts. He is human.
While creating the monster, why did you make him larger and stronger than an average human, essentially creating a weapon?
Mainly because it was very hard to work with all of the small bones. It would have taken many more years. I wanted it to get done as quickly as possible. You know, with being a student, I didn't have all the time in the world. So I just created everything bigger to make it much easier.
So
even
that
if I
means
failed.
you needed to make him 8 feet tall with superhuman strength? That was necessary?
With the large bones, I had to also create large muscles to support the bones. That's just how science works.
Who is responsible for creating this monster with the ability to kill humans?
Well, I think humans are perfectly capable of killing humans, and I created him with human parts, so he is definitely capable, just as any other human, to kill other humans.
Why didn't you care to civilize the weapon you made after you created it, leaving him to die because he didn't know how to survive?
I didn't know what would happen. It's not like I left the lab unlocked or he escaped. I went to go rest after 2 years of working hard on this.
So you're telling me that you created a new life that is not human and you left it by itself not knowing anything? You went to take a nap?
How was I supposed to know if my experiment had fully gone to life? Has it succeeded? It could have failed for all I know.
Do you claim responsibility for letting the monster get into society without teaching it proper human morals or basic life skills?
He escaped before I could do anything.
But did you teach him proper life skills and teach him how to survive? Did you tend to him? Did you care for him?
He didn't give me the chance.
No, you didn't give him the chance, did
Objection,
you?
Your Honor, badgering the witness.
Objection sustained. Counselor, please move on to the next line of questioning.
Why didn't you go after the monster after he'd escaped? Why didn't you try and clean up the mess that you created?
If I would have tried, what good would that have done? He is much stronger than me. I couldn't have done anything based on the rash mental state I was in. I had been working for 2 years.
Why didn't you ask for help? Why didn't you even try? Why didn't you try and find him and reason with him?
I knew no one would believe me, and I didn't know where he had gone. He had escaped into thin air.
Did you break your promise of creating a mate for the creature?
Yes, I did, but only because it was a rash decision, and he was threatening me so much, I had no choice. He forced me to make that promise. I feared for my own life and for my family's lives.
So it was not your decision? Did the creature personally make you destroy his mate, or was that your decision?
It was my decision. I thought what was best for humanity, and it was better for me to die by the monster's threats than all of humanity for a whole race of monsters that might have been created.
Mr. Frankenstein, do you ever recall admitting to be the true murderer?
No.
This statement is false because you directly said, "But I, the true murderer, felt the never-dying worm alive in my bosom, which allowed for no hope or consolation," in chapter 8 on page 6. No further questions.
Thank you, Counselor. All right, at this time, would the jury please evaluate and score defense counselor Jose and her questioning, and would you please score for the prosecution's final witness, Victor Frankenstein? Okay. All right. Now, let us proceed on with the prosecution. Do you have any more witnesses to present?
No.
No. Okay. Then the prosecution will rest their case. Defense, you may present your case now. Defense, would you please call your first witness to the stand? The older gentleman, I believe it is.
Can we call Mr. DeLacy to the stand?
Thank you. Mr. DeLacy, would you please approach the stand and be sworn in by Bailiff Ferguson?
Mr. DeLacy, please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated, and please make it known to our clerk. Clerk Beck, you will now be doing the direct examination answers for these witnesses as they are questioned first by their attorneys. All right. You may begin questioning Counselor Russell.
State to the court who you are.
I'm Mr. DeLacy, father of Felix DeLacy.
Please tell us what your relationship with Victor Frankenstein is.
We haven't really had a relationship, but I had one encounter with him.
Mr. DeLacy, what was your first impression of the monster?
He seemed that he was unfamiliar with like human life, and he seemed sad, and he was like wanting to learn things.
Recall the first time you met the monster.
He seeked a friendship with me and my family because he was fond of us, and like I sympathized for him because I could tell he was alone, and my son Felix, he like beat him up and stuff.
Did the creature ever physically harm you?
No, never. He was only nice to me.
Why did you think he was hurting?
It seemed like somebody had hurt him in the past, and I think that's why he was hurting so bad.
Why did your son attack the creature?
I think that he judged him like based on his appearance, and he never got the chance to like actually speak to him or do anything else with him. So he just took out whatever you like assumed of him, I guess.
Now that you know what the creature experienced because of Victor Frankenstein, do you blame him for acting out and hurting those who antagonized him?
No, I don't blame him. He never had the chance to learn like right from wrong.
Who do you think is responsible for the murders?
Victor Frankenstein.
Why do you think that?
I think it's because he abandoned his creature and just like left him out just to rot basically in the human world.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Will the jury please make a note to score Counselor Russell's? This will be for the defense, her questioning of the witness. Please hold your score for the witness until the prosecution can cross-examine at this time. Prosecution, would you like to cross-examine the witness?
Yes.
Go right ahead, Counselor Vondero.
Mr. DeLacy, why was your family living in the cottage away from people?
We were trying to get away from our past things that happened.
Are you aware that the monster was stealing from you while he was living near you?
I'm blind, as you can tell, so I did not know that he was stealing from me, but I do not believe it.
Since you are blind, is it possible that when the monster had come into your home that he was having ulterior motives?
I believe that is incorrect. Just from my experience with him, that the little time I had with him, he seemed very gentle and nice. And the only thing he wanted to do was learn more and have somebody take care of him.
So he is capable of thinking for himself, and he does not need someone to teach him that?
I believe that he learned some things along the way, but I feel like he does still need teaching because he was abandoned.
And for my final question, are you aware of what the creature did to your cottage after you had left it?
No, I'm not.
Well, how do you feel about him burning down the cottage?
I feel like it's not his fault because it was an act of anger. Like he felt like he was being abandoned again, which is understandable because how badly he was treated in the past and stuff.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Would the jury please score now for the prosecution, the witnessing or cross-examination of Counselor Vondero, and then also would you please score the defense's first witness, so this goes under the defense column, for the witness, Mr. DeLacy. Now, let's get back to this view. And defense, we will continue calling your witnesses. Would you please call your second witness to the stand? A young lady, I believe, is on the docket.
Yes, can we have the young lady to the stand, please?
All right, Bailiff Ferguson, would you please swear in the witness unknown name at this time?
Please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, Counselor, you may proceed to question the witness.
What is your name?
My name is River Milligan.
State the events that led to you meeting my client.
I was playing down by a river with my family when I accidentally tripped and fell in, and the river was just rushing around me very rapidly, and there was rocks everywhere, and I couldn't get out. I could barely breathe. I just kept getting pulled under the water when all of a sudden this terribly ugly creature just came and pulled me out, and he saved my life.
So you fell into the river and he saved you?
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor, leading the witness.
Objection sustained. Rephrase the question, Counselor.
What happened after that?
He just saved my life, and then after he got me out, he was kind of unsure what to do next. He looked kind of confused. He wasn't really sure of how to comfort me or anything. And then my dad came over, and he pulled me away from him whenever he saw what he looked like. And he just carried me away. But I tried to tell my dad that he saved me. He didn't hurt me at all. He was saving me. But he didn't listen. And then whenever the monster got close enough, he shot him.
So why do you think that your dad would shoot him if he had saved you?
I think my dad he just wasn't thinking clearly, and then he just saw him, like his appearance just terrified him. He thought he was hurting me, but it was all based on appearance. Like, he just, at first sight, he just took me away and then shot him.
So how did this entire experience make you feel, like, throughout the entire thing?
I felt grateful at first because the creature absolutely saved my life. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be alive to sit here right now. But I felt terrible because of what my dad had done to him. I wanted to turn back and help him, but my dad wouldn't let me.
So, did the creatures' show emotions seem like normal to you, typical of the average person?
I would say that they were sort of like animalistic. Like, I would say that his intelligence wasn't at the normal human level or anywhere close to it, really. After he pulled me out, it was kind of instinct for him to pull me out. He knew that I shouldn't be in there. I was screaming for help. But after that, he didn't really know what to do. He didn't know how to help me or comfort me or anything. I feel like he kind of was never taught how to act in a setting and how to interact with people. He didn't know what to do.
So you said he was animalistic. Can you like give an example of what that would mean?
He could obviously tell that I needed to get out, but once I got out, he just kind of like held me for a second, and I could see in his face like the panic and the confusion because he just didn't know what to do. He had no idea how to comfort me or help me in any way.
So do you believe the monster should be held accountable for Victor's negligence?
I think that he should not. I could tell at the core of who he is, he's not a monster. He's a gentle giant. He may be ugly, but that doesn't mean that his actions are bad. I mean, I believe that Victor's abandonment and all of the bad things that happened to him were the reason that he did the things he did, but at his core of who he is, he's really a good thing.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Would the jury please now evaluate Counselor Lane's questions for the witness? And you are going to score that under the defense. And now we're going to go to the prosecuting witness or prosecution and allow them to cross-examine the witness. Please do not score the witness yet, as she has yet to answer the cross-examination questions. So, prosecution, at this time, would you like to cross-examine River Milligan?
Yes.
Go right ahead, Counselor Vondro.
Were you aware of how you fell into the river?
Yes, I tripped on a rock whenever I was running from my dad.
Okay. So you weren't unconscious when the creature saved you?
No, I was not.
Is it possible that in moments that the creature was thinking, he was thinking of something else he could have done instead of saving you?
No, I think his first instinct was to just jump in and save my life.
Why do you think your father might have shot the creature instead of thanking him?
He just saw him. I mean, my dad just went up, and then he couldn't see me whenever I fell in because I was hidden kind of like behind a tree, but he came up and the first thing he saw was the creature around me, and he just saw his appearance and he thought he was hurting me, and I guess because of how ugly he is, so he just took me away.
Are you aware that the creature had terrorized a village before the incident?
No.
And for my final two questions, if the monster didn't save you, would you have sided with him today?
Can you repeat the question?
If the monster didn't save you, would you have sided with him today?
I mean, if he didn't save me, I wouldn't even be able to be here today. I mean, he completely saved my life, so if he didn't, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Did you ever try to thank him while you were being taken away?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Did you ever try to thank him while you were being taken away?
I tried to, but my dad just took me away so fast, and the monster was he was confused as to what was happening.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Counselor Vondro. And at this time, would the jury please score Counselor Vondro's questioning of the witness, and that would go under the prosecution column. And if you would score the witness, River Milligan, on the defense side, as she is a witness for the defense. And now for the final defense witness. Defense, would you please call your final witness to the stand?
I would like to call the creature to the stand, please.
Thank you. Creature, would you please move forward to the stand and be sworn in by Bailiff Ferguson?
Creature, please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. At this time, defense, you may proceed questioning of your witness.
Please state your name for the court.
I actually don't have a name because my creator never gave me a name because he didn't even care about me. He just left me to die.
How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel that nobody cares about me and that my own creator, my own father just left me to die. And that should be the person that cares about you the most in your life. But he just pushed me away as trash. He didn't care.
So how would you describe your relationship with you and Mr. Frankenstein?
We had a terrible relationship because he never liked me. He never wanted to talk to me. He just left me to die.
How did Victor Frankenstein treat you after he created you?
After he created me, he realized what a terrible thing that he had done. And that's when he realized, oh no, I should never have done this. And he took off, and the next time I saw him was on Mount Blanc, and I just felt like he treated me terribly.
So why did you leave the lab?
I left the lab because I had to find somewhere to go and find someone that could teach me, or to find something to eat or drink or something, because there was nothing there for me because my own creator had just left me to die.
Do you think Victor created you for his benefit or for your benefit?
I think Victor created me because he wanted to test the limits of science, and he wanted to make his name greater and say that he was such a great scientist, and he just pushed the limits of science, and he shouldn't have done what he did.
Do you feel that you can distinguish your emotions?
I don't really know what emotions are because I was never really taught that, because my creator, he never told me anything, never told me what I needed to live or survive or nothing. So I don't really know what's what.
So how did you learn to survive on your own?
Yeah, I basically had to learn how to do it on my own, and I was able to watch this family named the Lacey's. And at the beginning, I started stealing food from them because I was really hungry and I had nothing to eat. And then I soon realized that they were poor, and I felt really bad. So I started chopping firewood for them. And I was able to help them a lot because I was able to give them firewood, but they also helped me because they taught me pretty much everything that I know, because they taught me, they didn't actually teach me, but I was able to observe them and see what they did. And I was even able to learn to read and write and many other basic things I was able to learn from them.
What do you think the difference is between you and other people?
The main thing is that they were born and have a father and mother that nurtured them and taught them what they would need to know to survive in the world and what right is and what wrong is. But I was just slapped together with a bunch of pieces and just said, here you go survive. And no, there was no one there to teach me, say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this is right. There was no one to teach me, so I had no one to tell me, so I just basically learning things on my own.
Okay. What impact did Victor's abandonment have on you?
It had a very big impact on me because that'd be like your own father just leaving you to die as soon as you're born. And you just have no role model or no one to look up to. And the whole time inside you just feel like depressed and sad because no one cares about you, no one loves you, and so you just feel terrible.
What are your thoughts on Law and Order?
Law and Order is very good for like running a country well. But the problem with me for that is I don't know what right is and what wrong is. It's hard for me to tell because there's no one to tell me what is wrong and what is right. So for me, those laws are just really hard for me to follow, and I don't really understand the laws.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Thank you. Would the jury please at this time score Counselor Burnett's questioning of the creature? And at this time, prosecution, would you like to cross-examine?
Yes, we would, Your Honor.
Go right ahead.
So, Mr. Creature, can you tell me, you say that having Mr. Frankenstein abandon you made you feel, how did you say that made you feel?
It just made me feel like I had no role model to look up to, and like it made me feel like no one cared about me, which no one really did.
So you're admitting that you do have emotions because you just said it made you feel like nobody cared about you. But yet you said you have no emotions.
Well, everyone inside of them has emotions, but you don't know how to like control those emotions if you're never taught them.
Yes, well, okay. So, moving on to another question. What books did you hear read or did you read yourself while you were with the DeLacy's?
While I was with the DeLacy's, there was this girl that came with them, that came to their house, and while she was there, Mr. DeLacy's son Felix was teaching her to read, and they read aloud many books, and I was able to listen to them. But I don't really recall on top of my head what those books were because it was a while ago.
So, in your story of your life to Mr. Frankenstein, you said that one of these books was the Bible. And so that book, as we obviously know, is full of morals, and even if you don't follow it, it's just full of good morals. So how can you say that you read that and heard that read, and you even said to him that these affected you greatly, but yet you claim to not know what right and wrong is?
Objection. Leading the witness.
I'm allowed to lead the witness under cross-examination.
Yes, objection overruled, but good try. Anyway, keep going, Counselor Schreck.
So what did you learn from these books?
From these books, I was able to see some things, but most of it, I was just like going through one ear out the other because it's just hard to understand that certain things. But I did learn things from the Bible that said certain things. But even if you're just reading it blankly, there was no one to say, this is what this means, this is what this means. So it's really hard to tell like what certain things mean and what they're supposed to do.
But there was someone to say what that means, because that was, as you said, Mr. Frankenstein, that was one of the books that Felix read to his wife. So it was explained to you what everything in there meant.
Objection, badgering the witness.
I'll allow this line of questioning for a little bit, but hopefully we're going to get to a point, Counselor. Objection overruled. Right. Continue.
This with Felix, he was basically just dry reading it to her. He didn't explain it to her very well, but he was just basically just reading to her so that she would understand reading.
All right, so while you were with the DeLacy's, Mr. DeLacy said that you helped them in some way. Can you kind of explain this to me?
Yes, while I was there, I at the beginning, as I stated earlier, I stole some food from them. But soon after, I realized that they were poor. So I felt really bad for doing that, and so I started chopping firewood for them at night, and I would stack it for them as well.
And so I also heard that you saved a girl's life. What was this about?
So I was in the woods walking. So basically what happened was I went to meet Mr. DeLacy, and when I met him, he was super nice to me, and he treated me with a lot of respect, and he was really nice to me. But his family came in from walking, and they thought that I was hurting Mr. DeLacy, so they tried to injure me, and they fled their house, and they never returned. So I burned their house down, and I took off to find Victor Frankenstein. And on the way to finding him, I came across a river, and on the river I saw a girl and another person. I don't know what kind of relationship they had, if it was like a boyfriend girlfriend or a father daughter type of deal. But anyway, the girl was just walking along the river. She was running, and she tripped on a rock and fell into the river. And so I jumped in really quickly and saved her. But whenever I pulled her out of the river, her companion that was with her came up and approached her, and he saw that I was with the girl, and he thought that I was injuring her, and so he actually fired a shot at me, and that was really traumatic.
So these people that you helped, they often just repaid your actions with violence against you?
Yes. They
So-
didn't even care about what I did. They just cared that I looked ugly, and they thought I was a mean creature, and it was terrible.
So would you say so what you're saying is that the people that you helped repaid your good deeds with wrong ones?
Not really. They just got really mad at me. I wouldn't even say what I was doing was good deeds. I was just like trying to do as much as I could to help others.
So would you say that they were in the right when they were trying to hurt you?
I don't really know what right and wrong is, so I don't really know if that's right or that's wrong or whatever.
All right, so different line of questioning. So when you first came to be, did you run away from Dr. Frankenstein's lab, or did he force you out?
He did not force me out, but I never found
Okay, so
Mr. Victor.
Did you kill Henry Clerval?
Yes, I did kill Henry Clerval.
Did you kill William Frankenstein?
Objection.
That is...
Your Honor, the same strangulation marks that were found on Henry Clerval and Elizabeth Frankenstein's neck were found on William Frankenstein's neck as well. These marks could only have been made by a monster such as this one.
Circumstantial evidence. It was.
How can you prove that?
Because...
Objection. Someone...
All right. Order. This case, by definition, is for murder in the first degree for the deaths of Elizabeth Frankenstein and Henry Clerval only. So we will stick to those two deaths only. The clerks will strike from the record the question, did you kill William Frankenstein? And but you may answer any further questions of any further killings. Continue.
All right, so what were your intentions with Frankenstein if he didn't fulfill his promise to you?
Well, my intentions were, I told him I would be there at his wedding night after. It was a terrible thing that he did because he just he promised me he would make me a companion. He was like...
So what were your intentions with him when he didn't fulfill this, his part of the bargain?
I didn't really have any intentions. I was just trying to get a hold of Victor Frankenstein because he wouldn't listen to me, and I didn't know how else to get into his brain and talk to him.
So you threatened him. And
yes,
you threatened
I did threaten
on his
him.
wedding night. And then what did you do on the wedding night?
On Victor's wedding night, I did the only thing that I knew to the only thing I knew that would be possible to get Frankenstein to listen to me and actually care about me. So I went to his hut that he was in. He and his wife were in. I grabbed his wife and strangled her and ran away. And he actually shot me as well.
And then,
Or
so
shot at me.
after this, you let him, or what did you do with him? Like, what did he do to you? Did he, like, chase after you, or did he just let it go?
Yes, he fired a shot at me, and he then tried to get some people to help him. That's what I'm pretty sure. And no one would believe him, so I took off, and he started following me, and I would actually leave carved notes into trees for him to be able to read and follow me with.
So you systematically killed this man's family and left him alive to suffer so that you would feel wanted by somebody?
I didn't really know what I was doing. I just did whatever thing that came to my mind right away that would actually like get a hold of Frankenstein so I can actually talk to him.
Yes, but you did say that you were going to be there with him on his wedding night, and you fulfilled that promise. That shows that you were premeditating that murder.
I just told him I would be at his wedding night. I didn't say I would kill anybody. I just said I would be there at his wedding night. I could have given him a gift on his wedding night.
Yeah, but you implied murder. He knew what you already said that the only way to get him to do what you wanted.
Objection, badgering the witness.
I'll let the counselor ask the question, but let's get to the point.
In your previous answers, you said that the only way to get him to listen was to threaten him. So that implies that he knew that you were threatening to kill him on his wedding night.
And your point is?
But you did kill Elizabeth. So you knew what you were doing.
Not really. I just knew that I was going to be there at his wedding night. That was basically it. That's the only way I knew that I could actually talk to Frankenstein and get him to listen to me.
So aside from your looks, would you consider, like, if people could get past your looks, do you think that you could interact with them like they would want you to, and be a nice person and act like a normal human around them?
I don't think so, because I'm not really a human. I was made of human like body parts, but you can't just like piece together parts and just call it a human, because I'm created completely differently than most other humans.
So, yeah, so I know you're different, but like, would you want people to treat you like a normal human? Like, would you want to be accepted by society and interact with people?
Yes, because anyone wants to be with people.
So then why do you want to be above human consequences for your actions?
I don't think I'm going to be above human consequences.
No
I'm
further
just
questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counselor. All right, would the jury at this time please score Counselor Schreck's questioning of the witness that goes on the prosecution side? And also, would you score defense, the creature, for the witness side? All right, and at this time, we are done with the questioning of both sides unless someone has another witness that they would like to call. Okay, good. At this time, we are ready for closing arguments. Prosecution, would you like to make your closing argument?
I call God as a witness.
Yes, ma'am. Or yes, Your Honor. So, Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we have witnessed the trial of Mr. Creature for the first-degree murder of Elizabeth and Henry Clarabelle. We have heard the testimonies of Robert Walton, Professor Waldman, and Victor Frankenstein. We have heard the creature's confession to the murder of Henry Clarabelle and Elizabeth Frankenstein. I ask you to think not only of Mr. Frankenstein and the problems that this immense grief has caused him, but to also think of society and the future consequences that will abound if he is allowed to go free today. Not only do we risk another murder, possibly the one of my client, Mr. Frankenstein, but also think of the reputation of the Court of Geneva. If you allow this murderer to go free today, then you may as well tear up the Constitution itself. I ask you to use reason and to look at the facts presented to you today, and to not listen to mere speculation and hearsay. Above all, I ask you to rule honestly and justly. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Schreck. And would the jury please score the prosecution closing statement, or you may wait to hear the defense closing statement and then score both at the same time. Defense, are you ready to make your closing statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed, Counselor.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've seen the overwhelming amount of evidence. It has been presented clearly and factually right in front of you. The definition of murder is a human being unlawfully killing another human being. My client is not and will never be a human. A human is born from another human from one sperm and one egg, not created. Human life is far more sacred and divine than body parts meshed together and electrocuted into existence. Humans have a soul. You can't just electrocute a soul into a body. My client simply cannot be charged wrongfully as if he were the same as you or me. The facts are present. You heard Professor Waldman's ridiculous testimony that the creature is a human when this is scientifically false. Yes, my client needs help, but from people who care. We saw that he is capable of love and compassion from the girl in the river. We saw that he has made mistakes and he regrets them. Justice demands to be served for the innocent human beings who died as a result of Victor Frankenstein's cruel and reckless moral actions. We must serve this justice to the man who played God for his own sick self-satisfaction, the man who created a weapon and left it to a life of miserable destruction and desolation, the Creator himself. This man is a threat to society. Who knows what he could do? Create more killing machines and leave them to die. Jury, please imagine being left to die or fend for yourself when you have the mental capabilities of an infant. You couldn't even speak, much less survive. You heard the direct quote that Victor is the true murderer here, not this monster who only wanted acceptance. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand on the side of justice with me, where immorality and recklessness of human life is not tolerated. No deaths of innocent human beings that could have been prevented by not playing God and knowing the limits of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. At this time, this court will be adjourned while the jury reaches a decision. Bailiff Ferguson, would you please adjourn the court?
All rise. The Honorable Justice Brown and the jury are now leaving the courtroom. Court is adjourned.
Okay, all right. First of all, oh my goodness, that was good. Okay, like I cannot believe it. Like this is one of the best cases ever, ever, ever. And it's on Zoom. What in the world? But it's forever recorded on YouTube. So, but like, oh my goodness. Okay, I would not want to be a juror. That is for sure, because y'all were such powerhouse teams. Oh my goodness. Good night. I don't know if any of you have thought about a career in law, but if you haven't, you most definitely sure could be. And Lord help your poor spouse, because I don't think they're ever going to win an argument. Oh, goodness. You know, like, bless their little hearts. They're not even going to try, because you're going to be like, and furthermore. Okay, now, everybody hold on just for a second, because I'm going to attempt to put my breakout, here we go. I'm going to attempt to manually, I only want one room. Okay, so everybody just chill out for a second. All right, I want to create a, okay. All right, create a breakout room. Okay, I want to assign. Okay, Amelia Lane, you're a juror, correct? Andrew, Audrey,
muted.
Susie, Brooke Lee, you're a juror, right?
Yes.
Correct. Carolyn, you're a juror. Cole, you're a juror. Diana, okay, not you, not you. Eric Foraker, you're a juror. Grace, you're a juror. Not Gwen, not Haley. JC, you're a jury. Janie, you're a jury. Jonah, you're in the jury. Carissa, Cayenne, let's see, not Leah. Blake, the jury. Maya, you're in the jury. Sam, Sheridan, Trent, Tristan, no, and Will, no. Okay. All right. Breakout room 1. Open room. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Oh my god.
Okay. Are y'all getting an invitation to go into a different room?
I did.
I got one.
Why wasn't I invited?
Okay. Are y'all going into that room? Because I got to talk to my jury. Okay. I don't want to assign y'all. Do I have to assign you to something? I don't want unassigned. Okay. So is anybody in here that's in the jury right now? Anybody in here that's in the jury? Okay. Okay. All right, listen. Y'all chill out. Everybody take turns telling a joke, something like that. Okay. I'm going to go into the breakout room and talk to the jury. Okay. I don't know how to get in there.
Oh, Sheridan's not in the jury.
Yeah. Sheridan's the clerk. How do I get into the jury? I mean, how do I created the breakout room, but now I have no idea how to get back in.
You might have to switch your hosting.
Oh, what you doing, bro?
Okay.
Willie?
I have not moved.
Dude,
we
something
found out
about
there's a
a
Willie.
laser
No,
and just
it's Balfour.
questioning somebody just like.
Apologies, like I found a new profession.
The outside world did not agree with me to sit outside, dude. I had 3 airplanes go over my house.
Stuck in the other room.
And then they started mowing.
Audrey, you lost.
That's what you'd like to think.
Yeah, Noah.
I think I heard
Yeah,
one.
Noah.
Right.
Kerr. Yeah, Noah.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous.
Noah, you need another haircut?
I already got another one. It's so bad.
Anyway,
Noah got this
so this is the last thing we do in English, and then we're done.
Well,
And then we're done. We're done. We're done.
You finish this. Listen, somehow I created a breakout room, but I can't get in to tell them anything. So hopefully this is going to work out. Hopefully this is going to work out, or I'm just going to have to do this.
Ms. Brown, why don't you put us in a breakout room so that you can still have all the
I can
jury?
help you. Hold on.
I don't know how to get into a breakout room.
It won't. It's a setting.
Walk out in the breakout room.
Wait, so school's over after this week?
It's a setting that only the host or a co-host can do, and I only assigned 1 breakout room, but that's what I should have done. I should have assigned 2 breakout rooms and had some of y'all come there. But anyway, my breakout rooms are closing in 7 seconds, so
They seem
hopefully I'll
fine.
be back here. Anyway, I'm gonna see if I can say this. Okay.
Noah.
All right.
Noah, tell your mom I said hey.
Noah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Noah, if I win, you have to shave your head.
You're not
No.
winning.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
All right.
Oh.
If you go to Sebastian's house, you can share it.
I need everybody quiet.
Bro, we did not come to it.
Oh, Noah.
Yeah, we did. You're just declaring like what our decision was anyway.
Okay, guys.
You come to a decision?
Jury.
No, we definitely didn't.
Yeah.
All right, jury. Have you had a chance to score all of your things?
Yes.
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 When they all get back in here.
All right. Now you are completing your verdict that you are going to say, and it will be done in this fashion. Okay, it will be done in this fashion. I, juror, and your last name, do hereby find in favor of the blank, prosecution or defense, because, and we're going to list your reasoning. Okay. Do we need to break out again, or are y'all good? You're
What do you think?
okay. All right. I will call you by name. Okay, I will call you by name. If you are not at this point ready, just simply tell me and we will pass. All right. Here we go. We will start with juror Carissa Amon. Take it away, Katie.
I, Juror Amon, do by hereby find in favor of the defense, and I made this decision because the creature had no form of teaching in the real world, and he was abandoned at birth, and he wasn't taught from right from wrong. And Victor wasn't aware of the creature's capabilities, and he put in no effort to look for him or help the situation. And Victor rejected the creature in disgust, and this abandonment shaped the creature's behavior and intentions, and I think that was the common factor of the creature's actions.
Thank you, Juror Amon. We will now proceed to Juror Couch. Mr. Couch, are you ready to give your verdict?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we will come back to you. Juror Milligan, Cayenne Milligan, are you ready for your verdict?
I am.
You may proceed.
I, Juror Milligan, do hereby find in favor of the prosecution. I made this decision because the creature knew exactly what he was doing when he burned down the house and when he murdered two of Frankenstein's best friends. And so, yeah.
Thank you, Juror Milligan. Juror Foraker, are you ready for your
Yes, ma'am.
verdict? Would you please share that with us?
I, Juror Foraker, do hereby find in favor of the prosecution. I made this decision because the monster knew what he was doing the whole time. Some people say he had the mind of an infant, but several years went by after he had, some time had went by after he was created. So it's like me growing up into like the mind I am now. Like I have full awareness of all my decisions. And yeah.
Thank you, Juror Foraker. Juror Ellison, are you ready with your verdict?
Yes, ma'am. I, Juror Ellison, do hereby find in favor of the defendant or defense because I made this decision because the creature is not a human and he was never taught between right and wrong. So how would he know if murder was bad? And if Victor Frankenstein would not have created the monster in the first place, then we wouldn't have been here. And the people that were killed wouldn't be dead now.
Thank you, Juror Ellison. Juror Wynn, Diana, are you ready for your verdict?
Not yet. Could you give me a minute?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Juror Wynn, JC, are you ready with your verdict?
Yes, ma'am. I, Juror Jason Nguyen, do hereby find in favor of the prosecution. I have made this decision because the prosecution provides us evidence that the Frankenstein's monster did in fact actually was aware of what he was doing. The point that Eric made that the monster is aware of all this time, like what you learn sticks with you. So it makes sense that he knew what he was doing, and you have to feel emotion to be moved to burn somebody's house down.
Thank you, Juror Wynn. Juror Goodwin, are you ready for your verdict?
Yes.
You may proceed, Juror Goodwin.
I, Juror Goodwin, do hereby find in favor of the prosecution. I made this decision because the monster admitted to murdering those people, whether Victor did create him, it was still his conscious decision to kill people, and he admitted to it.
Thank you, Juror Goodwin. Juror King, are you ready for your verdict, please?
Yes, ma'am.
You may.
I, Juror King, do hereby find in favor of the defense. I made this decision because it doesn't matter how many books he read or what he so-called learned from them. The books, I don't think they talked about right from wrong. He never was taught right from wrong. And even though he did have emotions inside, he was never taught how to deal with them. So he just acted on them how he knew how to act on them. He was never taught right from wrong.
Thank you, Juror King. Juror Ayers, are you ready to give your verdict before the court? Juror Janey, are you ready?
Mic isn't working.
Okay, all right. She's sending me something right here. Oh goodness, hold on. I'm gonna have to share my screen. Hold on. Where is share screen? Okay, hold on. I gotta move y'all. Sorry. Share screen. Share. Mail. She says, I, Juror Aris, do hereby find in favor of the prosecution. Because the creature showed emotions and learned right from wrong, he still made the decision to murder. Whether he was hurt or not is not an excuse. Okay. All right. Thank you, Juror Aris. Okay. Get back. Okay. Next. Juror Lassiter, are you ready for your decision?
Yes, ma'am.
You may
I,
proceed.
Juror Lassiter, do hereby find in favor of the defense because he didn't know what he was really doing, because even though he had emotions, he was not taught how to control them. It's like a rabid animal that's like never been taught how to handle things. So it didn't matter like what he had read, because he couldn't really comprehend it anyways. He just read it. It didn't mean he became anything he read.
Okay, thank you, Juror Lassiter. Juror Lane, are you ready to make your verdict before the court?
Yes.
You may proceed.
I, Juror Lane, do hereby find in favor of the defense. I made this decision because Victor's creation was not a human and did not understand what he was doing. He had no sense of right and wrong, or even of his emotions. And even if he was able to read about emotions, that doesn't mean that he understood. He just knew what he was supposed to feel, but he didn't understand how.
Thank you, Juror Lane. I'm going off a list, unfortunately. I'm not pulling up my screen here. I believe I still have Juror Couch and Juror Wynn. Are there any other jurors that I'm missing?
Me.
Okay, Juror Lee, sorry. Anyway, I'm using my list from the check-in on Monday, and that's when you had your appointment. Juror Lee, would you proceed with your verdict if you are ready?
I, Juror Lee, do hereby find in favor of the defense. I have made this decision because the creature had no teachings of right and wrong. The creature would have never caused trouble if it was taught how to live and how to react in different situations. The creature is not human. He has the mind of an infant.
Thank you, Juror Lee. I'm going to circle around to Juror Couch. Are you now ready for your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you may proceed.
I, Juror Couch, rule in favor of the prosecution because, I mean, the monster very clearly knew right from wrong due to, like, him having a big, like, love of books and being able to understand the concepts presented in those. So if he's able to grasp such grand concepts as presented in those books, he should be able to at least grasp the simple concept of, is it really okay to kill someone?
Thank you, Juror Couch. All right, and finally, Juror Wynn, are you ready?
Yeah. I, Juror Nguyen, do hereby find in favor of the prosecution because the decision, or I came to this decision because the prosecution made very good points that the monster knew right from wrong and does not have the mind of an infant. Even the mind of an infant begins to develop. You don't need an authoritative figure to teach you right from wrong. He was aware of burning down the houses and killed all those people to hurt Victor. The books he read were philosophical and then proves that he has a view on right and wrong in life. It clearly stated that he read text that develops the argument. He learned about emotions, morals, right and wrong.
All right, are there any other jurors before this decision is done?
Me.
Oh, Mr.
Like,
Harris. Mr. Harris, please give your verdict before the court.
I, Juror Harris, do hereby find in favor of the prosecution because, like, he knew exactly what he was doing whenever he, like, burned down the house and stuff. And, like, even if you still know, you know the difference between right and wrong, like, basically everybody does. So, like, I don't know.
All right, thank you. Let me open this back up to a gallery view. All right, for the final time, are there any other jurors that I have missed and overlooked since I don't have a jury panel to do this? And by the way, in a real court of law, the jury would all get together and you'd all decide on one verdict, or else there would be a mistrial. Fortunately for this case, it was very, very close. In fact, it came down to just within 2 votes. But by a vote of 8-6, we hereby find the defendant, the creature, guilty of second-degree murder for the murders of Elizabeth Frankenstein and Henry Clairville. You are now reprimanded to this province of Geneva. Bailiff Ferguson, would you please apprehend him and please take him to the county office where he will be convicted and sentenced. Thank you for your work on this court, ladies and gentlemen. This court is now adjourned. Bailiff, would you please do the honor and adjourn the court?
Please rise. The Honorable Justice Brown and the jury are now leaving the courtroom. Court is adjourned.
Guys, what in the world? That was so much fun.
Yeah, I want to hear that. Free my dog, bro.
That was oh my
I just need to know, are we done with English for the year?
Girl, you are done and more done. Anyway,
Thank God.
listen. I need to figure out how to mute all of you, but I cannot tell you that was so good. Like I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like y'all are ready for Cornell, like, you know, or some law school. Anyway, it was fantastic, like unbelievable. Like your fellow peers, I'm serious. This has to be the best one I've ever had, and it's on Zoom. What in the world, Zoom? But anyway, listen, y'all just aced yourself a test. I mean, ace, ACED, and then some, and then some. You go give yourselves a pat on the back. Defense, you were awesome.
We know.
Awesome. Okay, like incredible. All right, it came down to really 2 votes, and it's, you know, kids making the decision. You know what? Seriously, but anyway, it was awesome. You did so good. I'm so proud of you. I'm telling you, y'all are going to become famous. This YouTube is going to go viral. I know it is. Hey, and Will and Gwen, you guys are going to have to go on Flipgrid and see Will and Gwen's reports, because they're the reporters and they're going to go live on location. In fact, it'd be so cool, like if you could interview some people, you know, I don't know, via FaceTime or something, and say, so you were there, what did you think, you know, or whatever. It would be fantastic. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, listen, here's what you got to do. Listen, we're not done. But listen, y'all just like hit it out of the park, hit it into the next park, and the park after that. You have to finish your pre-trial assignment, which is whatever those 2 little things that you had to do. Okay, you need to upload them. But most of y'all, your performance, if you're an attorney or a witness, then your performance grade was right here. Okay, a bailiff, your performance grade is right here. You just have to type in, I read the statements and had my Bible and all that. But anyway, clerks and reporters, you guys have to actually submit either your video or the little things that you typed. Okay, and I'm going to send out the recording as soon as we're done. And then everybody has to do a Flipgrid video just saying, did you like this kind of style of assessment? Anyway, and I'm serious, y'all are fantastic. And you had 2 days to do this, 2 days. And seriously, I met with you on Zoom for like an hour on Monday. And I did meet with my prosecution team and my defense team yesterday and helped them like for maybe 45 minutes. Y'all were incredible. Listen, I'm so glad I don't have a teenager yet, because I don't know how I'm going to argue back with them. Do y'all always get your way?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like,
y'all are pretty stinking persuasive.
And that's called the garage.
Oh, I just get beat.
Anyway, but oh my God, I love you. I'm so proud of you.
Why?
Fantastic. All right. Anyway,
I'm
good
gonna go
job.
have a third cup of coffee to celebrate.
I get to shave.
That's a mood swing.
No.
All right, everybody say
You
bye.
can keep your
Well,
Justin
I'm
Bieber
coming to see your
haircut.
mom.
Peace out, guys.
Bye. This.
Bye.
Yo, I'm out.
Come
Everybody
over to see your
peace
mom.
out.
Have fun. Bye. Peace out, everybody.
Bye. End
I
meeting.
enjoyed it.